What if the secret to a garden that explodes with color next April wasn't about spring planting at all, but about what you do right now, while the air still holds that amber warmth of early autumn? Most gardeners pack away their tools when September arrives, but the truth is, these next few weeks offer a window of opportunity that spring simply can't match. If you want your garden to wake up next year looking like it belongs in a magazine, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because today we're diving into 7 perennials that need to go in the ground before the first frost. Hey there, garden friends! Thanks for spending part of your day with me. If you find this helpful, give it a thumbs up so more people can discover these fall planting secrets. Let's talk about why planting perennials right now is actually smarter than waiting until spring. When you plant in fall, the soil is still warm from summer, which means roots establish quickly and deeply. But here's the magic. While the tops of these plants might die back or go dormant when winter arrives, underground, those roots keep growing slowly, steadily, building a foundation. Come spring, they don't waste time getting established because they're already settled in. They just explode with growth, while spring-planted perennials are still figuring out their new home. The first perennial that deserves a spot in your October planting schedule is the bleeding heart. This woodland native, with its dangling heart-shaped flowers in pink or white, is one of those plants that actually prefers being planted in fall. When you put bleeding heart in now, especially in regions where winters are cold, like Michigan or Pennsylvania, you're working with the plant's natural cycle. It wants that period of cold dormancy. The roots establish through fall and early winter, and when spring arrives, you get those arching stems loaded with flowers weeks earlier than spring-planted specimens. Bleeding heart thrives in partial to full shade, making it perfect for those tricky spots under trees or along north-facing walls where other plants struggle. It likes rich, moist soil with plenty of organic matter worked in. One thing that surprises people is that bleeding heart often goes dormant by midsummer, especially in warmer areas. The foliage yellows and disappears, which is completely normal. This is why I always plant it with later blooming perennials or ferns that can fill in that space. Here's a bonus tip. The white varieties tend to tolerate more sun than the pink ones. Have you ever grown bleeding heart? And did you know it could just vanish by July? Columbine is another spring bloomer that absolutely loves being planted in autumn. These delicate-looking flowers with their distinctive spurred petals come in nearly every color you can imagine. Deep purple, bright yellow, coral pink, white, and even bicolors that look hand-painted. Columbine is native to various parts of North America, so you're working with a plant that's already adapted to survive whatever your region throws at it. What makes Columbine perfect for fall planting is its taproot system. That deep root needs time to establish, and fall gives it that time without the stress of summer heat. Plant Columbine in partial shade with well-draining soil. It's not fussy about soil quality, but it does hate sitting in water, so if you got heavy clay, work in some compost or plant it on a slight slope. The flowers appear in late spring, hovering above mounds of delicate blue-green foliage that looks beautiful, even when the plant isn't blooming. Here's something most people don't know. Columbine self-seeds readily, and those seedlings often produce flowers in colors different from the parent plant because they cross-pollinate enthusiastically. Within a few years, You might have a whole cottage garden mix of columbines in shades you never planted. Columbines also attract hummingbirds like magnets. So if you want those tiny jeweled birds visiting your garden next May, get some columbine in the ground this week. Do you prefer a carefully planned color scheme in your garden, or do you love the surprise of self-seeding plants creating their own combinations? Now here's a perennial that doesn't get nearly enough attention, and I think it's because people associate it only with cutting gardens. Peonies planted in fall will reward you with blooms so extravagant they look almost unreal. Those massive ruffled flowers in shades of pink, white, coral, and deep red are the kind of blooms that make neighbors stop and ask what you're growing. But here's the thing about peonies. Timing matters enormously. Fall is actually the only time you should plant bare root peonies, which is how most peonies are sold. They need that cold period to set buds for spring flowering. In fact, without adequate winter chill, peonies won't bloom at all, which is why they struggle in places like southern Florida or coastal California, but thrive across most of the country. Plant your peony roots with the eyes, those little red buds on the crown, no more than 2 inches below the soil surface. This is critical. Too deep, and your peony will produce beautiful foliage, but no flowers. And you'll spend years wondering what went wrong. Peonies want full sun and rich, well-draining soil. Once established, they can live for decades, literally outliving the gardener who planted them. I've seen peonies marking the foundations of homes that burned down generations ago, still blooming every spring like clockwork. They're also surprisingly low maintenance once settled in. The main issue is that those enormous blooms can get heavy after rain and flop over, so you might want to install a peony ring or some stakes in early spring. What's the oldest perennial in your garden? And do you know its story? Let's shift gears and talk about a perennial that brings an entirely different texture to the spring garden. Coral bells, also called heuchera, might bloom in late spring with delicate wand-like stems of tiny bell-shaped flowers, but honestly, most people grow them for the foliage. And what foliage it is. Depending on the variety, you can get leaves in burgundy, chartreuse, silver, purple, orange, even near black. Some have veining that looks painted on. Fall planting gives coral bells time to establish their root systems before winter, and they'll emerge in spring with that fresh, vibrant foliage that holds its color all season long. Coral bells are incredibly versatile. They tolerate partial shade beautifully, making them perfect for brightening up those dim corners. But many newer varieties also handle full sun, especially in northern regions. In hotter areas like Texas or Arizona, give them afternoon shade to prevent scorching. They're not picky about soil as long as it drains well. One mistake I see constantly is planting coral bells too deep. The crown should sit right at soil level, not buried. Over time, coral bells can heave out of the ground during freeze-thaw cycles, so check them each spring and gently press them back down if needed, adding a bit of compost around the base. Here's a myth I want to bust. People say coral bells are deer-resistant. They're deer-tolerant at best. Hungry deer will absolutely munch on them, though they usually leave them alone if there are tastier options nearby. Which do you value more in a perennial, showy flowers, or stunning foliage that lasts all season? Here's a perennial that might surprise you, because most people think of it as just a ground cover, but ajuga is so much more than that. When planted in fall, ajuga establishes quickly and produces spikes of blue, purple, or white flowers in spring that are absolutely alive with bees. The foliage is often variegated or bronze-tinted, creating a living carpet that suppresses weeds like nothing else. Ajuga spreads enthusiastically, which is either a blessing or a curse depending on where you plant it. Under trees where grass struggles? Perfect. In a formal border where you want tidy edges? Maybe not the best choice. It tolerates everything from full sun to deep shade, though it performs best with some light. Ajuga is nearly indestructible once established and handles foot traffic reasonably well, making it useful along pathways. The fall planting advantage with ajuga is that it has months to spread and fill in before spring arrives, so you get that established look much faster. One thing to know, ajuga can be aggressive, so plant it where it can roam freely, or be prepared to pull up runners that venture beyond their boundaries. Have you ever planted something that took over more space than you expected? And did you regret it or embrace the abundance? I saved one that surprised me most for last, and it's a perennial that every pollinator garden should include. Baptisia, also known as false indigo, is a North American native that puts on a show of lupine-like flower spikes in shades of blue, purple, yellow, or white every spring. But what makes Baptisia truly special is its structure. This is a plant that grows into a substantial shrub-like mound, sometimes 3 to 4 feet tall and equally wide, with blue-green foliage that looks attractive all summer long. In fall, the seed pods turn black and rattle in the wind, adding winter interest if you leave them standing. Baptisia has a deep taproot, which is exactly why fall planting is ideal. That root needs time to grow down deep, and once established, Baptisia is drought-tolerant and virtually indestructible. It thrives in full sun and tolerates poor soil, though it appreciates decent drainage. The only real mistake you can make with Baptisia is trying to move it once established. That taproot does not appreciate being disturbed. Choose your location carefully, because this plant is a permanent resident. Baptisia works beautifully in meadow-style gardens or mixed borders, where its substantial presence anchors other plants. Bees absolutely cover the flowers in spring, and the foliage stays pest and disease-free without any intervention from you. It's one of those rare plants that truly looks after itself. One bonus, deer usually leave Baptisia alone because the foliage has a slightly bitter taste. If you live in an area with heavy deer pressure, like parts of Pennsylvania or New York, Baptisia is a lifesaver. What native plants are you trying to incorporate more of in your garden? Our final perennial brings incredible charm to spring borders, and it's one that deserves far more love than it gets. Brunera, sometimes called Siberian bugloss, produces clouds of tiny, forget-me-not-like flowers in the most beautiful shade of blue each spring. But like coral bells, the real star is the foliage. Those large heart-shaped leaves come in varieties with silver markings, white veining, or patterns that look almost painted. The foliage stays attractive all season, brightening shady spots where little else thrives. Brunera loves shade to partial shade in moist, rich soil. In regions with mild summers, it can take more sun, but in hot climates, give it protection from afternoon heat. Fall planting allows Brunera to establish before winter, and it will reward you with those delicate blue flowers floating above the foliage come April or May. One thing to watch. Brunera can develop powdery mildew on the leaves if air circulation is poor or if it gets too dry. Mulching helps retain moisture and keeps the roots cool. The plain green-leafed variety self-seeds moderately, but the fancy variegated types come true from division, not seed. Brunera pairs beautifully with spring bulbs, hostas, and ferns, creating layered shade gardens that feel lush and established. Are you working with a challenging shady area in your garden that needs some fresh ideas? So there you have it. 7 perennials that transform spring gardens, and every single one benefits from being planted right now while the soil is still warm and roots can establish without stress. From the romantic blooms of bleeding heart and peony to the pollinator paradise of baptisia and columbine, from the textural magic of coral bells and brunera to the reliable ground-covering power of ajuga, you've got options for sun, shade, and everything in between. Fall planting isn't just about getting ahead of spring, it's about working with nature's rhythms, giving your plants the time they need to settle in and build strength underground while the world above goes quiet for winter. There's something deeply satisfying about planting for the future, about putting roots in the ground in October and knowing that 6 months from now, when everything feels new and possible again, these plants will emerge ready to perform. Gardening teaches patience, but it also teaches optimism. Every perennial you plant this fall is a vote of confidence in next spring, a small act of faith that the seasons will turn and beauty will return. Which of these 7 perennials are you most excited to try in your own garden? Or is there a spring bloomer you're already planning to plant this October? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I love hearing what you're growing. And if this video helped you think differently about fall planting, consider subscribing so you don't miss future tips. Happy planting, and I'll see you in the next one.